Hi, I'm Daryl Urbanski, and welcome to the Best Business Podcast. My mission is to help create 200 new multi-millionaire business owners. How? You'll do better when you know better. In my interviews, you'll hear from self-made millionaires, seven-figure business owners, authors, and world-class experts sharing how they did it so you can too without experiencing the same obstacles they did. When your life and your business grow as a result of what you're about to discover, please call me and tell me about it. The number to leave a voicemail is 1-888-844-GROW. That's 1-888-844-4769. Long distance charges may apply. Dial now to call me, connect, share your personal story of how my interviews have helped, or share your current challenges and frustrations so I can connect you with an appropriate course, coach, or help you if you connect. Now, if you like this interview, please share it with a friend you think will benefit. They'll appreciate it, and I will as well. You can also connect with me on social media. Look for Daryl Urbanski, D-A-R-Y-L, Urban Ski, U-R-B-A-N-S-K-I, and add me so we can be friends. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy what I've prepared for you right here, right now. Hello everyone, thank you for joining us. My name is Daryl Urbanski, your host as always. Today we are joined by Anthony Mendez, and Anthony believes movement is medicine and action will always beat talent. He has 3 years of exercise science education, a diploma from Equinox Fitness Academy, a diploma in psychology. He's done over 30 health and fitness workshops led by the top fitness leaders of the world. He holds 2 national certifications, 12 specialty certifications. He's been a fitness professional for over 9 years. He's worked with and changed the lives of hundreds of individuals, everyone from the general population to disabled individuals, post-rehab, pre- and post-natal, celebrities, elite athletes. He's done it all. And I've asked him to join us here today to help us take care of our most important asset of all, our health. So Anthony, thank you so much for joining us, my friend. How you doing?
Good, brother. Thank you for having me on here, man.
Yeah.
Excited to really hit this off.
It's an honor and a pleasure. Health is wealth. It really is. It's the foundation of everything. I've worked with so many different entrepreneurs and CEOs and just even normal people just going to their job where it's like, oh, everything's fine, I'm cool, and then something goes wrong with their health, something that was easily preventable, and now all of a sudden everything comes grinding to a halt. You know, like everything stops when you get sick. And so an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And especially in the States and in a lot of Western countries, like chronic disease is on the rise. I don't know exactly what the stats are, but I think it's like 1 in 5 are diabetic. In like the next 10 years, it's going to be something like 1 in 3. Like it's
crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy because we're doing it to ourselves. It's self-inflicted. You know, at a bare bones, it comes down to over consumption of simple carbohydrates and a lack of exercise. You know, but before we get into any of that, talking about that, I want to hear about you. So you've been in this industry for a long time. You've seen trends and fads come and go, and my God, are there a lot in the fitness niche. But how did you even get into being an entrepreneur, and especially in the fitness industry? Like, do you come from a background of this, or what?
So actually, my whole life, I was raised by, middle class family, but not. We never really had entrepreneurs in our family. It was, we had blue collar workers, worked hard. That's one thing, worked very, very hard, always was consistent, on time, to get the work done. So it was just a, hard labor kind of work. But that's kind of the family I grew up from. But they always taught me, work hard and, fight for the things you want. And, you got to earn your things because, you're not born into this world deserving things until you earn it. So that was always something that I was raised with, and definitely has helped me translate into being able to shift into this entrepreneurial world and mindset, and help me elevate myself up. But I started as a trainer, like many other trainers probably start, working at a big box gym. I started off with Bally Total Fitness. I don't know if you remember them.
Yeah, I do.
But that was back in the day. Yeah, I think there's only like 2 or 3 left, and they're like in New York or something. But in Florida, I worked with them for a year, and then they got bought out by LA Fitness. And then I started working with LA Fitness for 3.5 years. And from there, I decided that I needed to step things up. And I saw that, this could be a potential career path as far as training goes. Because at first I thought it was just going to be something that was going to get me by while I was at school. And then I realized, I really like this. I really enjoy this. I really want to make an impact on people's lives. But I really also need to see how I can make more money at the same time. How can I elevate my game? How can I become a better trainer? So I went to Actually, my cousin told me about Equinox Academy and Equinox. So I went to New York because she was there, and I stayed with her and I studied at Equinox Academy for, well, almost half a year. And that was really cool because I got to also escape the bubble of Miami. I never really lived anywhere else. So that opened up my eyes to new things. And going out to New York really was an experience. So I got to venture out there, learn, meet these trainers, learn at the academy, which it's almost like going to college. It was great information. And then from there, I almost stayed in New York, but certain things happened, and my cousin wanted to come back to Florida, so we came back to Florida, and I started working at Equinox down here for 3 years. And during the Equinox era, that's where really my Instagram stuff and my entrepreneurship mindset started kicking in, and that's where I started seeing things completely different, and that's where I started wanting more, and I wanted to better myself, and I started seeing that I can do certain things beyond just being in a corporate setting, and I was really feeling a tie to that, and I wasn't content where I was. So I knew that this position where I was at during Equinox wasn't going to be forever. So I kind of started doing a lot of videos with another buddy of mine at Equinox. So I don't always had Instagram, but I wasn't too involved with it. I had done some health tip stuff back in when I was in LA Fitness, and I had grew my following to like 5,000-6,000, but it wasn't anything crazy. And then I put it off completely when I was in New York, and then came back. And when I came back to Equinox, that's when I started really paying attention to it with my buddy, and he was already doing a lot of videos himself, and his Instagram was doing really well. He was getting clients from it, and I was like, oh shoot, is there something cool here? And he's like, look dude, I'll film you, you film me, let's just do workout videos, let's put them on the gram and let's see what happens. So cool, that's exactly what we did. And things started happening. I started getting a demand of people. I started seeing my Instagram growing, my social media following was being engaging, and I think it really helped too, where I was putting a lot of unconventional style training, body weight training outside in the outdoors, and especially here in Miami, don't get me wrong, the scenery helps a lot, and doing these outdoor activities really showed people that they can do things outside. And a lot of people never saw these movements before, and they were asked questions, and it really sparked something different to set me aside from other trainers, especially during that time where unconventional training wasn't as popular as it is now. Back in 2013, 2014, 2015, I feel social media has really opened up a window for that, where a lot of people got into it. Now people are like, whoa, I want to learn how to do that flow. I want to learn how to do that with the kettlebell. I want to learn how to do that with the body weight. I want to, so back then I felt like that was something really that I had strong, me and my buddy and I, pushing out there, where it was at an infancy, at least in Miami, with what trainers were doing. So that really helped a lot. And I also learned from another buddy of mine who we started a small little sportswear company together. And he used to work in marketing. He worked in marketing. He worked with social media management. He had his own social media management company when he was 18. So he really taught me a lot about the social media world. And things from there really started evolving. And my buddy who we were doing the video stuff with, he ends up leaving Equinox because he saw that his social media was bringing him a huge group of leads and clientele. So he decided to make that jump and go. He had been at Equinox for like 6-7 years, and I wasn't going to leave. I was going to stay about one more year, and I kept filming with him to do our stuff. And then of course, with the corporate setting, they start coming down on you, and they're like, oh, I see you're spending time with him, and, he left, and, what are you doing with this? Not that I was hitting my numbers and everything, but they just didn't like the fact that I was working with him and he had left.
Right.
They were scared that I was going to do that too. But so it got to the point where it was just like the way that they were handling me, it was just too much. And I was like, you know what?
They were uncomfortable, so they pushed you away, and, they basically created a self-fulfilling prophecy, it sounds like.
Pretty much, and they kind of put me in a corner, maybe, and they gave me an ultimatum. They literally said it's Equinox or Instagram, and I was like, the next day I wrote a huge resignation letter, and thanked everybody, thanked the Equinox Academy, thanked everybody there for my time being, and just submitted them my 2 weeks. And from there, I was like, you know what? I got to roll with something that I created. I'm not going to roll with something that I know that I don't want to be here for I don't want to be doing this my whole life. So I had to go with my heart at that point and say, you know what? This is the route I wanted to take always. Was only a stepping stone. So I need to make that jump now, even though it wasn't the time I wanted to do it. But it was the best decision I ever made.
Mm-hmm.
So I made that jump, and I was scared, man. I was scared. I was like, what am I going to do? And where am I going to take my clients? So luckily I had two other buddies of mine that used to work for Equinox. They were working out of a therapy clinic. They brought me in, let me work with my clients there for a few months. And then we decided to open up our own gym, which we had it for about a year and a few months. So we had a gym for about a year, a few months. That was going really well. And then the owner decided to sell the building. So we were subleasing the Pilates studio. So it was a Pilates studio and us. Right. And the owner goes, I'm selling the building to the building next to us, who was an automobile Porsche company who wanted to expand. So they came in, they're like, hey, we're going to quadruple your rent. If not, you're out. So we're like, okay, we can't afford quadruple what we're paying now. So I guess we're leaving. So that was, again, now I'm back out and I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? Now I'm training out of my apartment gym. Thank God, I still do train some of my clients out here, my privates, and it's a great facility. So I looked at it as an upside where I don't have an overhead cost. So I started doing that, saving up. And during this time, I'm just really building on my social media and Instagram, and I'm just really working that hard because, I always saw that as the biggest leverage, at least for what I'm doing, I think for the future. So I always got leads, clients. I started doing events. I started popping up more around Miami, started building a bigger name, and I started using social media in those different ways. I had Puma hit me up. They wanted me to sign with them as an athlete, and had Onnit hit me up as well, and I signed them with them as an athlete. So then I started realizing, I'm like, okay, cool. Like, this is where it's making sense now. This is where finally this stuff is working for me. Where before, I remember for that 1 year after Equinox, I was like, man, like, I left Equinox and
what did I do? Was that a mistake?
Exactly. I was like, I haven't really made any money with this social media stuff, but I realized that it's a game of patience, and it's a game of building your way up, because people are watching, but they're just watching to see if you're going to make it or break it. So I literally just stuck through it, and I started then connecting the dots. I started getting Puma, Audit, other companies, working with them, doing posts and working with their brand, and I started getting paid through that. So I started creating another leverage of stream of income, which then from there I started to realize, wow, this is cool. I can start creating avenues directed through social media. Now I just don't have to worry about training anymore. So this really helped me off, where I didn't have to load up with so many clients anymore, and I started I started cutting my workload in half. And I still train some of my privates, but not as many as I used to in Equinox, because I've been able to use the tool of social media to really help me drive another stream. Now it helps me with events that I create a revenue through that. It helps me with, working with top brands, and then also as well doing some online stuff, which now I'm restructuring a huge digital fitness platform that I'm going to be launching very soon. And that's pretty much kind of where I'm standing at now, just at a much elevated state. And I opened up a media company recently too with my videographer. So me and him are business partners, and we're really putting a lot of effort into this digital fitness, because I feel digital fitness is where there's a lot of everything in fitness is moving towards digital and online, but I still feel that there's a lot of quality being left out, and I feel like there's a lot of cookie cutter stuff out there. So I really want to put time and patience and work into something that's going to really offer a lot of quality, and that's going to really offer people something that's going to be safe, effective, fun, and that they can really translate with, and something they can use on the go, at a park, at home, in a hotel, wherever they are. So that's something I'm putting a lot of time and effort into now, so that way I can also create that extra leverage of income to be able to start traveling, do other things, spend more time with my family and stuff like that. But I truly believe, that's where a lot of the world is going, and everybody should have their hand in something that's online, digital, fitness, social media, something in there, because the world is shifting, the world is leading to it. Who knows? I think virtual reality is going to be the next step in
Mm-hmm.
fitness as well.
Yeah, I think you're right. Now, just a quick recap, because that was fantastic. I love that story. There's some things I want to unpack from what you just shared here. So first of all, when you left, how big was your social media following, your Instagram, when you left, when they gave that ultimatum? Where were you at, like around for followers?
I think I was around 50 something to 60,000.
Right. And now you're what? You're almost at 200K? You're what?
Almost at 200. Yeah,
Almost at
almost at 200.
200,000, right? So, but now let's talk about this. So, in doing this, what's the formula? How do you use Instagram to grow a business?
So just my number one thing is you have to be really engaging with your audience. I think a lot of people, have a mislead with that, and a lot of people, even though I've seen a lot of people who, the ones that are good, are doing good, and then I've seen people who just, they have the engagement, but they don't respond back to those people engaging. And I feel like that's where the magic is at, and that's where I feel like I've had a huge, out of other things that I do, but I feel that that's one of the top three biggest one is making sure you write back to a lot of your people on DM, making sure you respond to your comments, making sure that you show love to these people who have been supporting you for days and for days, weeks, and months, and who knows, years that they've been following you. Showing them some sign of, I know you're here, I know you're supporting me, I know you're enjoying my content, and thank you. So I always do my best to try to comment back to as many people, all people as possible through my post. And if I missed, I'll always go back throughout the week and see, okay, I missed some comments here, I missed some comments here. Let me re-engage. And same thing with DMs. Let me see who I have to message, contact with. Boom. And it's just about building many relationships with these kind of people and always checking in with them and, hey, how you doing? Hey, thank you for the support. Because at the long run, when you do that, those people are going to see that you genuinely care, and those people are going to see that you genuinely want to help them. Meaning, when you do open something up, or when you are working with a brand, or you are pushing something, a service, a product, these people are going to want to help you, because they saw that you engage with them, you help them, you answer their questions. They're going to be like, I want to do something for him, I want to do something for her in return. You know.
Yeah, I agree. I did a call not that long ago, an interview, and they were talking about how LinkedIn's got this thing called the social selling index. And it's, if anybody with a LinkedIn profile can go and check their social selling index. It's a free thing. You just have to log in and go and just kind of do a Google search and then click the link. And one of the funny things about it is one of the major factors on it is relationship building. That's like one of the building relationships. So there's like, build your profile. There's like, finding the right people. I think there's like, using your metrics or using analytics. And then the last one and the most powerful one is build relationships. And so when I asked you, how do you use Instagram? It's nothing different than what you would do offline before the internet.
Exactly.
If you were a trainer, you would go socialize, you would go to community events, you would go to parades and festivals, you would go to parties, and you would socialize, you would network, you would engage with people, you would have conversations with them, you would follow up and stay in touch and build a network. I remember reading, I forget what it was some sales book, some sales and marketing book, and they interviewed some guy that was like the top car sales rep in his area, and they're like, what do you do? And he sold everybody that came into him that was a lead or bought a car from him, got a birthday card from him forever. Like a postcard in the mail. And it's like, that's just like you're just saying, like, just engage, respond, and check in with them. So it just sounds like you just have to be present, like be a friend, build those relationships. It sounds like a lot of work though.
It takes, like, as at the beginning, like anything does. I'm a huge believer. You gotta work hard to work smart. So there's gonna be a temporary time in your life where you gotta work hard, and then start shifting that into smart work. Because in life, you have to sacrifice to get. So if you don't sacrifice at the beginning, you're not gonna get later on. So like I say, I'm still young. I'm 26. I can still sacrifice right now. I can still put in hard work, because I know later on this is just going to build a huge empire for me, where I'm going to be able to then work smart, find where I don't need to put as much time, hire people for that, work on what I need to focus on, and then build off that. So it's one of those things. It takes patience. It takes hard work that leads to smart work. But, we have to put in some kind of work. I feel like nowadays a lot of people do lose that, where they just feel, you only got to do what you love only, and I agree, you have to do what you love. But even what you love to do, there's still things that you have to do in what you love to do that you might not necessarily like.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of life. You have to understand that, and I tell people, you have to understand that if not, you're always bouncing around and you'll never be able to start something. You'll never be able to build something off. So you just got to understand it is going to take some sacrifice. But when you go through that and you really put 100% every day, the best you can, you'll see how something beautiful can create from there. And you'll see how then you'll start leveraging certain things. But I feel too like we live in a world of so much speed and instant gratification. And I can get this right now. I can get this when I want it. So people start wanting to rush things, and I tell people all the time, there's 3 things you can't rush in life. You can't rush a relationship, building a relationship. You can't rush your health, building your health, and you can't rush building a business. Those are the 3 things you can't rush in life. You have to be patient, you have to build them up, and you have to really solidify them to build something that's going to be strong and great. Because if you rush them, it's going to break. Your relationship will break, your health will break, you'll collapse, you might get hurt, you might not get the results you want. And for business, your business will fall down, or, it ends up not working. So I always really hone in on that, because I do feel strongly about those 3 things, that they do require patience, hard work, sacrifice, to then be able to work smart, at least in the beginning, But the goal is, of course, to work smart. I'm a huge believer in that. But you got to start some kind of hard work. If not, that smart work won't build.
So let's dive in on that. So let's talk about it. I love what you said, because it does take time. You're planting a garden. I like bonsai is a great analogy, because bonsai is the idea of shaping and trimming plants to form these beautiful, unique, sculptures, almost like a living sculpture. And so I don't do bonsai, but I live in a place that's got gardens of them. So let's talk about kind of what you feel you need, are the disciplines or the habits and routines required to build these things over time. So let's start off with the relationships. What do you think are really important with building and monetizing relationships online?
So definitely, I would say, when you work with people online, or you find people online and you really see the ones that are really truly engaging with you, set a list of those people aside. Create a list of those people that you see that are constant supporters, and every now and then go in there and check in with that list of people. Write to them, engage, show them some love, show them that you're interested in working in showing that interest, in showing value to them, giving them value because they're giving you support. So create that side list of those, I would call them your star, relationship builders. Put them out, and then have your other ones too that you come in, but these really spend a lot of time with them, especially the ones that you're seeing that they're spending a lot of time putting effort on your stuff, because at the end of the day, in this world, social media, at least in the social media world, your audience is what's going to help build you up. So, the more that they see that you're putting some effort on them, they're going to want to put effort back even more. They're going to want to get your services. And it's like I was saying, it's all about building that trust and relationship with them and showing them that you care. I get that all the time. I get messages from people that are like, oh, wow, you wrote to me. You actually wrote to me. And I'm like, yeah, why wouldn't I write to you? And they'll be like, I get other huge influencers who don't even look at my message. They'll delete it. And I see that they delete it. And I'm like, I'm here to help you out. So, and obviously always to a certain extent, you always know where you're not wasting time or where you're not being taken advantage of. And it's just being smart about that, where, it's a genuine, question or relationship that they want to build. Or just, thank you for the stuff you're posting. So it's just making sure you keep on that relationship with those key people and following up with them. So the follow-up is always important. Even with my own clients, after big milestones, after we do our monthly evaluations, I follow up with them with an email. On holidays, I try to give them little gifts. I'll buy them, it could be a gift card, it could be a this. But I make sure that they know that I care about them, because at the end of the day, these people want to know that they're cared for, whether it's your clients already, whether it's future leads, whether it's this or that. When you go that little extra mile, man, that little extra mile really helps to solidify a lot of things. And I've seen a huge change from when I wasn't doing these things back in the day, from when I started doing these things, and now that I keep doing these things, I see a huge change in everything. And you feel good about it too, because you see what you're doing for these people.
It's kind
and
of
you see
fun.
that.
Like, I know we're guys, but it's kind of fun doing a Christmas card or like a family portrait or things like that because you're doing something that you're going to post on your wall or you're going to send out to people. I can really support what you're saying. So there's two things I want to say. One, about what you said about buying people, like your customers gifts and stuff. This is something that I wish I did more of. I had one client that probably would have only been maybe a 5-6 month client, but actually ended up working with me for nearly 3 years because I used to get her, send her, have flowers and chocolates and stuff delivered to her house on regular intervals just as a simple thank you. And I don't think anyone she's ever worked with in her life ever did that. And that's one thing. And I was in my hometown, this small town, and we were at this little party. This is a couple years back, like 4 or 5 years ago. And I'd already had some success in business and marketing then, and I was at this party, really small town, like 1,000 people, like a bush party kind of thing. This kid I grew up with that was on my block came, and he was a local kind of contractor, and he's like, Daryl, like, I need a magic bullet. Like, my business is doing well, but like, I just need, how do I have security, and what do I do for marketing to like make sure I have more security for my family and, really help my business grow? And I said, dude, anything you're willing to spend on marketing, spend it on gifts for your clients. He's like, huh? He was confused. And I was like, think of all these people. Like, you're a contractor. You get a lot of subcontract work. I'm like, yeah, all right. So make sure you get those people anniversary gifts and Christmas gifts. And, make sure you remember, like, their kids' names. If you do that kind of thing, you will always be their go-to guy. And it will be painful for them to change to somebody else because you've proven that you really care about them. So that was the one thing you said about buying gifts. That's such a smart thing, and I don't really hear a lot of people talk about that. And I think that that's a lost art. It's a lost art of relationship building, and so I think that's really powerful. The other one you said that I thought was brilliant. I've actually never done this with social media, but I do it for my personal life. When you said create a list of your supporters. So I have to keep 3 lists. It used to be top 25. It used to be my top 25 family, friends, and VIPs. And it was like, family, the family members I want to stay in touch with the most. Because I've traveled the world so much, and it's easy to, to lose touch with people when you're not seeing them on a regular basis. But when you said that for social media, I was like, that makes so much sense. There's something in marketing, like, all a business really is a database. You've got there's kind of like these different universes, and forgive me because I don't know if this is your interview, but I think this is meaningful. And so there's like the unknown universe, right? And then there's the known, and then there's your leads, your buyers, your repeats, your repeat buyers, and then your lost customers. So there's like the unknown universe, the known universe, your leads, your buyers, repeat, and loss. So for me, as an example, just to give an illustration, somebody listening to this right now, right, I can see how many downloads I get, but I don't know them. That's unknown to me. That's the unknown universe. There's an unknown universe of like this many kind of people who are floating around, and they may or may not really care for, they may have stumbled in on this because they're interested in the topic or not. So that's unknown. But the known people are the ones that listen to the podcast and reach out to me on social media, and I know them, but I don't really consider them leads or anything because we're connected. But if I do a post, I'm not sure if it's going to show up in their feed. There's so much, right? Like I might have 30,000 people on social media, or whatever, but they're not necessarily all going to see it. I can't reach out and talk to them super easily, right? A lead is someone who I feel like raised their hand and signed up for information about an event or a product or service, right? But they never bought. And then you have your buyer. That's someone that bought from you, and they only bought once, and that's where I did an interview with Drayton Bird. This is an old school direct marketing guy, copywriter. He's had a #1 marketing book in the UK for 30-something years. Not #1, but it's been like a top bestseller for 30 years. Direct response, I don't even know what it's called, direct selling. Drayton Bird is his name, but he's got this fantastic quote.
I'll look it up.
This quote is fantastic, and it says, "The purpose of business is to locate a prospect, turn that prospect into a customer, and then make that customer your friend." And I think that's just what you said. That's part of what it is. Like you keep lists of your hyper supporters and you check in with them often. And you first, as salesmanship, it's all in the follow-up. Most of the sales come between the 7th and 11th, or 7th and I think 7th or 18th, but 7th and 11th touch, like meaningful interaction. But most people give up after the 2nd or 3rd. And that's about the follow-up. That's about building the relationship, staying in touch. Hey, have you thought about this? How are you doing? And just not being like, hey, want to buy? Hey, want to buy? Hey, want to buy? Hey, like,
exactly.
right? Like, so I just love that you brought that up because I don't know whether you figured it out because you were trained or you read a book or you just naturally figured it out like on your own organically, but that's really like old school marketing. They used to track the stuff in shoe boxes. They used to have separators for those little cue cards that you had, like for notes or for speeches, and they would have like your name. I would write your name, and every time you and I interacted, I would like write on that cue card. And then I would wrote, and there's something called RFM, which is recency, frequency, and monetary value. Recency is how recent. If a customer bought from you, or let's make this even simpler, if you went on a date with a girl, but you haven't seen her in 6 months, is she still your date? Not really, right? Like the recency kind of matters. Like if you haven't seen your girlfriend, yeah, like so recency is important, and so that's the most important one. The next one is frequency. If you went to a movie with a girl today, it's very likely she'll go to see a movie with you next week. If she's seen 2 or 3 movies with you and went to a movie with you recently, it's really likely she'll go to a movie with you next week, right? And then the last one's monetary value, which is kind of how much they spent with you overall. You might have someone that spends a ton of money with you once, and you never see from them again or hear from them again. So although we're trying to make money in business, it's almost like a metric for the quality of the relationship. If you take this RFM, and each one is like a filter. First is recency. Third, depending on your industry, if you're selling bridges, it's probably going to be like once every 50 years. Selling newspapers, it's daily. Really depends on your business. But recency is the first filter. First 0 to 30 days, or 30 to 60 days, or 60 to 90 days, or 6 months, whatever that is for you. And the next filter is frequency, and then the next one is monetary value. And you can make up a little matrix overlapping these 3 things, and it will tell you who exactly your hyper-responsives are and who to talk to in any business. I've worked with major companies with databases of millions and millions of customers, and they've told me that they've never found a better way to sort their databases than with RFM.
That's awesome.
So what you just said, here's the thing. It's very impressive. You've got 200,000 followers, but I'm just saying that it's not me. I'm just standing on the shoulder of a giant, but they've just told you what you're doing is the best way to sort your database. Like that's it. You figured it out. Like you're right. No wonder you're having success. You're using exactly how you should do it. Maybe there's a couple other layers that you do or don't use. That's fine. But generally speaking, you're like, yeah, I keep in touch with my hyper supporters, and I engage with them. I keep them recent, right? Hey, I haven't heard from you in 3 weeks. What's up, man? Hey, what's up? What's up, girl? I just love it. So
exactly. And that's the key thing. I feel like too many people are too pressured on focusing on like, no, but I gotta get this now, or I gotta get this sale now, or I gotta do this, or and people, I feel like they spend too much time thinking of the other thing and not thinking about the first thing of it's building the relationship, and building relationships lands in what my 3 categories of patience, relationship, health, and business. So building a relationship takes patience, so you're building a relationship with somebody through time, where then they might see something you put up and they might say, you know what, this is cool. I want to buy into this thing. Man, I love this guy. And you didn't even have to force it down their throat, but just because you build that relationship with them. Or later on, if you were say, hey, look, dude, I want to show you this opportunity that I might have that might interest you. They're going to want to listen because you build a relationship with them. You never try to sell them something off the bat, so that's why I feel like those things are so important. But I feel just our world is so fast that sometimes we lose that patience. But within the speed of it, there has to be patience. So we have to learn how to be fast and efficient, yet patient at the same time, knowing when to do that, when and where, to be able to, get these optimal results that we're looking for. So I think it's more of an awareness of when and where to put these things and when to do these things, and how to continue them. So it's something that, it's worked for me, and I'm sure, and I know it's worked for many, many others. Like you were saying, it's the key thing. So, and at the end of the day, it's just like you said, think about it when you don't have, let's say social media didn't exist. You have to rely on the other ways of building relationships that you're saying, going to events, going to network meets, going to parties, going to this, going to that. Building who knows, my side notes might be in a notepad, that's where I might take instead of my phone, so it's just translating that just digitally. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's it.
But we get caught up in the whole actual social media aspect of the pictures, the videos, the comments, the likes, of this, that we forget about that main tool, That's the reason why social media is called social media. It's to be social, build relationships, be able to link those things together to then see something. For me, I tell people all the time, I look at social media as just breaking the ice. I say it's the best form to break the ice, to talk to somebody or get to something you want to get to, or talk to somebody you want to get to. And it helps you break the ice because it can see already an idea of who you are, what you do, how you look, how you act, how your personality is, how you portray yourself. And that helps break the ice for you then to start building the relationship you want to build with that person, to be able to see, what can go down the road in the future.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Just a lot. I think there's so much wisdom in what you said. I agree with you like 1,000%. And one for people listening and they're not sure, well, what do I say if I'm just checking in with someone? Like, hey, what's up? Well, here's an acronym that I heard that's really been helpful for me, and it's FORM, F-O-R-M, and that stands for family and friends, occupation, recreation, and money. And that means that if you're ever at a networking party, or you're ever just like with your wife or your girlfriend and sits in your room and goes, hey, this is Jeff, he likes baseball, and you're like, I like baseball too. Like, what do you talk about? Right? It's like, talk about friends and family. Oh, so how long have you been with so-and-so? How long have you known these people? Who else do you know here? Friends and family. Occupation. What do you do for work? Why did you get into that, right? Recreation. What do you do for fun? That's cool. Tell me more about that. Money, anything. Could be about taxes, about income, but it gives you some themes if you're not sure what to follow up with. Just follow up to be like, hey, just wanted to hear from you. Give me an update. And sometimes people won't respond back. I think we all can think of maybe someone in our families that really is the one that reaches out all the time, and they're the one that make the family events happen or the holidays, that like if without them, who would bring us all together? And that's kind of what you're saying, like you're doing that for your presence and for your business and for your industry. People are busy, you're beating that path to their door over and over and over again until eventually there's a trail, and that trail makes it easy for them to come to you when they're ready.
Definitely, man. Definitely. And it's like exactly you were saying, there's always that, usually that one person who brings in together. And it's just like, I've always felt like, I want to be able to be somebody who can bring people together, network, have them network together, have connect people so they can do awesome things, and that's something I enjoy doing too, is getting others together and seeing them work on a project or them build a relationship. To me, that makes me happy as well. And like I tell people all the time too, everybody's like, example, I'll use personal training for example. Personal training doesn't start until a connection is met. If you can't connect, you can't start your work. And that goes for anything, or you can't build it. So you have to learn how to connect. You have to learn how to engage, like you're saying, using that basic tactic of form, so just learning how to build that connection first is super important. And you know what, for as far as business goes, not everybody's going to be for you. And then you have to learn also too, where you could be like, okay, I know this person might not work best with me, or I might not work best with them. Who can I put them with that's going to still bring them a ton of value? Because by you doing that, you're bringing them value. Knowing and being aware that, I'm not going to connect the best with this person. They might not connect with best with me, but I got somebody who I know is going to connect with this person. Now I'm bringing them value. I'm doing them a favor. I'm doing my job still to help them get the best position for themselves possible to be able to achieve whatever they're trying to achieve. So, you can't be scared to do that. I have buddies of mine here all the time, in Miami that are, good top trainers. Some specialize into certain things. And, as maybe I might know a lot of what they're doing, I'm not a master of what they're doing. So if I know that I can't provide something to the optimal for this person who wants to learn that specific thing, I'll be like, look, I would love to work with you, but I feel that this person is going to be best for you because they've mastered this skill set, and I feel that they're going to be able to give you the best value possible, as well. So being aware of those things, or being aware of their personality, I feel this person's personality is going to help you. I feel that you're going to connect with them on another level. I just feel that you guys are going to hit it off. Let me connect you guys. They're going to appreciate it at the end of the day. When you do that, don't look at it as a loss. It's not a loss, because that person is going to come back and thank you. And they might say, hey, I have a friend who I feel is going to connect with you much better than him. So let me put you with one of my friends.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So now, let me ask you about health. What are some of the things that we have to be patient about and diligent and focus on consistently, like relationships, but with our health?
So with health, I'm just a big fan and I'm a big believer in movement. So it's like I tell people all the time, just get up and move every single day. Obviously, there's details of certain things that I like to do, but if you're just starting off, just get up and move. Don't stop moving. Get up out of your chair if you're sitting too long. Get up out of your couch. Go outside, walk, jog. Go for a light run. Just move your body, and then going into more details, is use your body. Use your body, explore the space around you. I'm a huge believer in body weight, animal flow training. So explore the space around you. Our bodies are meant to move in different directions, in different angles, in different planes. So explore that because that's where your body's going to build strength, mobility, stability, flexibility through these different movements and end ranges that we start creating. So explore, the movement of your body and really hone in on that. I'm a huge believer too in, mastering your body before trying to go into heavier loads. Again, knowing the person's background, if they have a history that, they've done sports, they've, done training before, they've done weightlifting, then I can shift them differently. But for somebody off the bat that's never done something in their life, never exercised, I always love diving into just learning how to master the body first, how to do almost everything, at least for a month to a month and a half with their body before touching a weight. And they'll learn to appreciate when they touch that weight, and they'll see the value later on of, wow, when I mastered my body and I came to this weight, huge difference. Because I feel a lot of times there might be people who they might feel that they're strong with pushing some weight, but when they go back to their body, all these weaknesses and leakages start coming out, and they start to realize, wow, I can't do this with my own body weight. So we might be cementing some kind of dysfunction with that extra load on there. So we got to go back and see how can we address this with our body weight first and master that. So we prevent injuries, we prevent other problems coming on in the long term, so that way we can avoid those things. Because most of the time these injuries are buildups. When you get an injury, it's usually a buildup of something that we've been doing wrong that we haven't addressed for a long period of time. It's many times it's not an instant thing, unless you're playing a sport or something. And even then, a lot of athletes suffer from things that they might have not addressed years back, months back. And it's just your body's like, okay, it's like putting a little line every time. Okay, it's not being addressed. Okay, you keep working on it. Boom, 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 snap. Oh, crap. So it's really, I'm a huge believer in that as well, in really mastering the body first before going crazy with anything. Depends on your history. So that's what I'm a huge believer in. But just move, get up and move and explore. Our bodies were meant to explore. That's what we're here for. So explore movement, explore everything around you. And then also the same way you move your body, you want to move your mind. So you got to move your mind, by example, what we're doing today, podcast, talking to like-minded people, figuring things out with, your business partners or relationships you build, and talking on higher forms, higher levels, so your brain gets to work, reading, listening to the podcast, listening to audibles, move your mind in some way or some shape, and then move your soul, take time for yourself to meditate, to practice what you practice, to really maybe even sit down alone. Maybe you need some time to sit down alone and just talk to yourself, figure yourself out, find things, because through self-talk, you can find a lot of things, maybe even answers that you were looking for by just taking time to cancel everything out and just sit there and really talk to yourself and hone into that. And yeah, man, just basically move in all those three ways, because I believe when you move in all those three ways, you're just going to live longer. And it's just and that's where I'm gonna say it takes work. That's some hard work, but that hard work leads to smart work, because when you do that smartly, your body's gonna perform at another level, your mind's gonna perform at another level, and your spirit's gonna perform at another level, and then now you're gonna go out into this world performing at a higher level.
Yeah, I agree, and I like the approach because it's very much a ground up kind of approach to it, because you got to have the mechanics. People don't really want, and I mean, I've figured this out myself. L-sits and overhead squats cured my lower back. I had lower back issues on and off for a while. Jiu-jitsu fixed it, but then also every now and then I have a twinge. Never pulled anything, but it would just be like a split second, like, what was that? But now, ever since I really focused on core stability and even mechanics, most people don't even know how to squat, which sounds so silly, but most people, unless you live in the third world, I've been in the third world for a few years on and off, and I'm so envious of some people. They're just hanging out like in the squat like nothing. Like, and I'm just like,
Yep.
dude, like it's just so easy for them. But most of us in the Western world, we don't know how to squat. You have no idea how to squat. You think, oh, what? Pff, I can squat. No, you can't. No, I know how to squat. Ass to grass. No, you don't know how to squat. Go down to squat. Like, hold that. They have terrible mechanics. And if you're playing Jenga and you stack that thing up sideways and you drop a bowling ball on the top, it's not going to hold itself in place. But if you build the Jenga, castle right, it's got good mechanics in place. You put a bowling ball on top, it will hold it stable. And that's exactly what you're talking about. Before you worry about weight, let's just move your body. Let's get the mechanics right. Let's get you comfortable with your body. Let's get the little like fluids in your joints to be like, to just flow. Let's get the ligaments like kind of woken up and kind of like, before we drop 100 pounds on them, let's just jump up and down a bunch of times, let's just stretch them out a little bit, make sure they're ready for it. I totally get it. I love it. I think it's a great, and I think when we spoke before, I love the analogy. I only heard about this recently. You've probably been using this movement is medicine thing forever.
Yeah.
But I mean, for me, it was a new realization that animals that don't move have smaller brains, and a large part, some of it's communication and language, but a large part of our brain is because of movement. It's because we have to walk. You don't realize it, but you have to learn to balance. I mean, look at an infant. They don't know how to balance. They're just flopping all over. Your dog can't balance. A cat can't balance on two legs. What? Like, it's a skill. You take it for granted, but it's a skill. And if you had a car that wasn't going anywhere, you wouldn't need wheels, you wouldn't need headlights, you wouldn't need an exhaust, you wouldn't need an engine, you wouldn't need a drivetrain, you wouldn't need all these different things. But as soon as you're moving, now you've entered a new room. Well, your brain has to analyze the visual data, the auditory data, the sensory data, the smell, the temperature, the feel of the air against your skin. All these things are firing off your brain. And that's really a huge thing. People don't even realize that. They've done tests and proven that if you walked for 10 minutes and took a test, you would do better on that test than if you sat down for 30 minutes to an hour or longer and then took the test. Your brain shuts off when you don't move because the machine's not running. That's really it. The machine's just not running.
And that's why I'm a huge believer when I especially with my clients, and I teach it all the time, but I use movement and I use awareness of the mind as well, and mind shift and body movement to also change your physiological state, because a lot of times we're living, especially over here, in the States,
yep,
where, it's a stressful environment. We're sitting all day, which that's what shows your bad squat mechanics and posture, so I tell people all the time, when they encounter a stressful moment or a project, or they're just freaking out and they can't get something done, they're trying to get something done, you got to change your state immediately. You got to change your state of mind and your state of your body. And the first thing you need to do is be aware of how you're feeling, know that you're feeling this way, and then try to think of something that makes you happy, something you love. Get up, go somewhere where you can move, do some squats, jump on your feet, maybe jog around a little bit for like 3 to 5 minutes. And when you do that with the chemical changes in your brain and those happy thoughts, your body's physiological state will start changing. And now when you come back, you can approach that assignment much more differently and much more effectively than you can before. And that's why I'm a huge believer, and it really upsets me when I see a lot of schools taking out recess for kids, because recess is a huge help for kids. Especially, they've seen huge studies where kids do recess, and when they come back and take math, the subject math or any math test, they do so much better than when they don't do that and take math. So it's a crazy fact, but it's so true. And it's because they change their state, the state they were at, to a new state, and they can focus much more now. And that's something I use all the time with my clients is learn to be aware of when to change your state, because it's going to help you in the long run.
I love that. Changing your state. And it's so simple. I mean, that's even breath work. That's the whole basis behind a lot of breath work, is just helping you change your state, just because when you don't realize it, but your breath is something you control, but it's also something that happens to you when you go and something makes you angry, you tense up. I think that's wonderful.
Yeah,
Now,
the fight or flight.
Now, let's talk about business. What are some of the things? I mean, you've been running your business, obviously, and found ways. One, you did it, with companies and just found how they ran it, and now you've been running your own. What are some of the disciplines you feel have been really critical to your success in business?
So I would say, my daily routine practices. So something I like to do every day is I jot down on my phone notes, what are the three most important things I'm going to accomplish today. So I put my three most important tasks and I make sure that I finish those tasks before I start anything else. So if I haven't finished those three tasks, I won't move on to anything else. So I need to
Mm.
accomplish those three main things to then continue on with everything else. Because those three main things are what's really most important. So I write that down every day, and then I try to do something that's uncomfortable every day. So something that's uncomfortable, whether it's small, big, doesn't matter, but something uncomfortable that's going to help you lead you to success. It's going to help you build a new level of confidence. Because I'm a huge believer too of a lot of people will get tired of routine, and I feel like throwing little bits of uncomfortability in there that for you to do helps you keep you excited as well and challenge you. Even if you're a little scared, it challenges you because it's going to help you grow. So I'm always saying you got to do something, whether something uncomfortable, whether it's small, medium, or big, because it's just going to help you grow. And it doesn't matter what it is, but something that is just going to help you, whether it's as a person in your life, whether it's as in your relationship, as as a parent, as business, as a friendship, whatever it is, something that you might not have ever done or that you should do that's going to help you grow. Do that that day. So every day try to focus on something you can do that's going to make you feel that's an uncomfortable feeling, but it's going to help you.
I love that. So those are your top two. Did I miss anything? Just finish the
So
three goals per day. Set 3 goals per day, and don't do anything else until those three things are done. And then do something uncomfortable or new daily.
and then my third one that I like to use that really gets me going, especially when I just want to rile myself up. So I have this thing, I call it savage talk. So it's kind of my own little time, especially I like to do it when I'm, driving. If I have to drive to a client, go to a meeting, or I wake up in the morning and I'm going downstairs to train a client or whatever, I'm getting ready for something that I need to do. I always talk to myself, and I tell myself, I'm going to win the day. I'm going to own the day. I'm going to conquer it. And I'm going to complete everything I need to complete. And I'm going all in. And I tell myself this, I call it savage talk, and I'll literally tell it with myself with intensity in my head. Sometimes I'll say it out loud if I'm in the car. But this really helps me just get into that mode of just crushing it, So I call that savage talk. And then as well with my podcast, I love tuning into some podcasts or listening to some kind of informational thing that I can feed positivity and good information into my brain. So that way I just come into whatever I'm doing in a whole nother level.
That's awesome. I love that. I love that. And actually, you just inspired me because I used to do that. I used to do it, but I also would record. Self-talk's kind of like affirmations, right? It depends what you want to call it. I love the name though, Savage Talk. That sounds. I'm borrowing that. I'll give you credit, but I'm definitely going to borrow that from another. The Savage Talk. I love it, man, because it's just fucking savage, man. I'm gonna get there.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go get it. Fuck them. I'm gonna make this happen.
That's what I'm all about.
It's right. I love it. I love it. I really do. I totally forgot where I was going with that. The Savage. I got so amped. I started thinking about my own. Oh, I also recorded mine, and I would play it. I love Apple, but I hate the stupid iPhone with the stupid new phone jack because I keep going through headphones and I'm traveling the world. I just can't find a new flipping headset. So that's why I kind of stopped. But I used to record. I used to record and upload the MP3, and I would just play it on repeat. If I was just going somewhere or doing something, and I would just repeat that Savage Talk. I would just let it just go and man, I thought when I was doing that, that was some of the best years. I mean, I'm still having best years of my life now, but I just mean as far as how do I want to say this? Forced exertion of will on the world. That definitely was that was during those times. I haven't been doing it lately, and I haven't been imposing my will on the world like I used to back then. I mean, I'm still having gains, but you just inspire me. I'm like, I need to get back into that, because that's something I still kind of do it, kind of dropped off a little bit, but that's savage talk. People underestimate it, but here's the thing. When you're running, if you're running a marathon and your body's tired, your mind can will you to keep going. But if your mind gives up, it's over. Your body's not going to do anything for you. No one else is going to do it for you. No one else is going to come and help you. You've going to do it. They might encourage you, and that works. That's why people show up to basketball games and stuff. Cheering works. Pushing people forward, they'll do it. Like that stuff. It really works. It really works.
Yeah, it really does, man. And it builds so much confidence and just testosterone, and it just gets you riled up for anything you're doing. And it's just like, I tell people all the time, like so I don't know, like, when you've seen Usain Bolt like race, have you seen him before his race? Do you see what he does to the crowd and to the people? Do you know that little arm thing that he does, that he shoots his arms back and he points at the crowd with his arms?
Okay.
So if you watch one of his things, go back on a YouTube or whatever, he literally gets in front of all the racers, in front of them, and he looks at the crowd and he lifts his arms up and he points. So what happens here is that he's building himself a tons of confidence in front of the audience, in front of his competitors.
Yep.
And without his competitors knowing, his competitors' testosterone boosts drop slightly because of this power pose that he's putting upon everybody.
Yep.
So that gives him an advantage edge of winning that race.
Yep. And it puts expectations on himself. It's a forcing function. It's forcing him to perform because he just did that. Do you know what I mean? Like, he just did that. He's got to perform now. I love it. Yeah.
Yes, to back it up.
I love that. Dude. And so I actually did a quick Google search for an article I read when you were talking about recess. And it was talking about Finland's got one of the best education systems in the world. Kids have half the school days that we do in North America. And one of the things that I noticed that was different, and that's what triggered it when we were talking about recess, was that elementary school students get 75 minutes of recess in a day in Finland versus an average of 27 minutes in the U.S. And like you said, a lot of schools are even eliminating some of those breaks. And it's like, dude, like, it works. Like, move your body. So quick recap here. We're nearing the end of our time for this, and I think this was a fantastic summary. I think there's some wonderful actionable items for people here. So far as relationships, engage, respond, check in with people, create some lists for hyper supporters or different categories, and follow up. Send them all in personalized holiday cards, just birthday cards, family day cards. Hey, this happened to me and I just wanted to tell you about it because I care, I want you to know type cards. That's really, really, really important. And I first, like I told you, those lists I kept, I started doing that because I wondered two things. One, who could I pick up the phone and call and ask for $10,000 because I needed it, or more, $50,000 or $100,000 because I was kidnapped and I needed it to save my life, was one. Two, I died overseas. Who would fly overseas to come to my funeral? Or three, I got married overseas or some new country where I don't know anybody. Who would fly there to come see me? And if there's no one on that list, you maybe need to build up your personal network a little bit. I love how you've applied it to social media, and I'm going to actually take that and apply that, and I think that's fantastic. So we talked about that with relationships, and then we talked about with health, you have to move daily, use your body daily, body weight, master your body, get your mechanics right, and then move your mind, stimulate your mind, read, meditate, challenge yourself, surround yourself with good people. And then for business, we talked about set 3 goals per day, and don't do anything else until those 3 things are done. That's it. Those are your priorities every day. Nothing else matters. And then the second one was do something new daily or uncomfortable daily, something just to push you outside your comfort zone. Listen to something that you've never thought of listening to, check something out, just something to expand and stretch your mind a little bit. And then the savage talk, that self-talk, that pump yourself up. Tell yourself who you are becoming, and why you are doing it, and constantly remind you, because I think that is incredibly, incredibly important. All right, so Anthony, is there anything I didn't ask you that I should have asked you?
Brother, I think you hit a lot of things on the tip of the nail, man. That was truly awesome, and
good.
I'm glad I was able to come up here and provide as much value as I can for you guys, and I appreciate you providing value for me too. So always something I would like to tell people is just make sure, always work hard to work smart, and then, be aware of where you're at right now, who you are right now, and just start building off, that awareness, and then do something uncomfortable every day that's going to get you out of your comfort zone, that's going to challenge you, that's going to make you, it's going to elevate you to the next game, to the next level. And then also too, pay attention to your health, because at the end of the day, like I tell all my people, I want to help people become the most optimal for this world. So I look at everybody in this world as athletes. So we're all athletes living in the game of life. So we are playing the game of life, and we have to be the best athletes in our game called life. So everybody pay attention to that, and really drive in on that, because when you take care of your health, everything else gets better. Your businesses, your relationships, your everything, just everything gets better when you have your health on check, your mind, your body, and those two connect very much together. So make sure your mind, body are healthy, your spirit is healthy, and you'll see how everything will just start connecting the dots and working for you.
I love it. And if people want to connect the dots and connect with you and get to know you, how do they reach out and find out?
Definitely. So you can reach out to me on my email, my Instagram, my website. So my email is mendezfitnesspro@gmail.com. It's MENDEZ fitnesspro@gmail.com. And then my Instagram is Mendez Fitness. And then I have my website, which is mendezfitness.com.
There we go. So MENDEZ or Z Fitness is his Instagram. Go check him out. I actually was scrolling it after we got talking about his Instagram. I was like, what's this guy doing? This is cool. And there's some cool images. It's awesome. You got your family in here too. It's a good blend of like personal life and work. I think it's awesome. And you got a lot of quadrupedal movement stuff. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I definitely like it. So go check out his website as well, mendezfitness.com, or send me an email. It was mendezfitnesspro@gmail.com. Anthony, thanks so much for joining me today. I think this was a fantastic call, ton of value for people. They may want to listen to this again and again. Would love to have you come back on in a little bit and find out how you're doing, follow up, see what's new with you, and just appreciate you, man. Thank you for coming and sharing.
Definitely, brother. I appreciate you having me on here, man. Truly an honor.
You've reached the end of our interview. Now, first, let me thank you for listening. I appreciate and respect you more than you'll ever know. And now I'd like to ask you a couple of questions. First, what 3 lessons did you just learn? What 3 aha moments just jumped out at you? Second, what can you implement for yourself and your business in the next 24 hours? Third, what can you give to someone else to help you with, or give to them to just do it for you? Whatever it is, remember, taking action is the secret sauce to results. Now, if you think this interview would be helpful for a friend, please give them a link to it. It'll help them and it'll help me too. I'd also like to invite you to help me find out more about the challenges you're facing, your dreams, your goals, and how I can help you overcome what's holding you back. We both do better when we know better, and your success is my success. So please reach out and interact. You can visit our website, bestbusinesscoach.ca for Canada or California, where I'm from and where I'm living. You're welcome to also try out one of our paid programs. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, and pretty much every other social media channel you can think of. You should also subscribe to the podcast, and if you're enjoying them, please leave us a nice review. It really helps. That's all for now. Once again, thank you. Take care of yourself, and remember, the world needs the best business you can build. And I believe in you.